How's it going today?
I'm doing well, Diane. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too.
You know, I'm good friends with Dion Taylor. And I was just speaking with her about you, and of course, you guys know each other.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
we get confused for each other now and again.
Yep, just a letter difference.
It's
Well, good to meet you.
you
Good
too.
afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
I didn't know if this was the link or not because Rick said the URL to follow, but I guess it works.
That's quite the
There.
look, Malcolm.
I was like, Teams is just being fun. I know Rick's been posting. Is he on here yet? No. Give him heck. He's posting the link on LinkedIn, but we have a whole meetup page for registrations, and when you sign up there, you can just get the link. So I'm not sure why we're pointing everybody to multiple locations, but we'll get that sorted out. And who
Thanks for
let
that.
Nicholas Hayduk in here? Where's the get rid of button?
Thanks for that message back, Malcolm.
No
Appreciate
problem.
that.
Yeah, no problem. Glad it was in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was nothing in the events tab, so understood.
Yeah.
How's everybody doing? Keep them warm?
Trying.
I was doing fine until Malcolm threw me under the bus there. I don't know.
I was hoping you were paying attention.
Only about half.
Half and half, fair enough. I'm gonna turn on a rotating show here while we just chat through. Do we do the customary weather check or do we skip that?
Let's skip that. I don't want to announce what it is here.
That's fair.
Rick is here. Greetings.
What's going on? Hey, Anthony, Asif, Malcolm,
Hey, Rick.
Diane, and
Hello.
many others.
Eric, I just sent you. Rick, I just sent you an email asking if this is the right link because it said the URL to follow on your
No,
invitation.
it's the wrong link.
Okay.
Uh-oh. Be quiet. Everybody quiet. Liz is here.
Okay.
Oh, you're muted.
Why do we have to be quiet? Because I'm here, Rick.
You have to behave now. The
I
That
would never say
never
something like
happens.
that.
What
the
are you
official
talking
from the
about?
community has shown up.
I feel like I just saw you, Liz, like half an hour ago. Yeah.
I know.
What's new, everyone?
Climbing up there. 20 people. Doing well. How are you guys? How's everybody doing? Keep them warm, keep them busy. Is anybody else getting more snow now that we're in March than you have all year?
Malcolm,
Yeah.
you just read my mind. I was like, is anyone else getting snow? Because I am so over it.
It's coming
True
here in
story.
Chicago today.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had more. We've had more in the last couple of weeks than we've had all year.
Yeesh.
We've had a lot this year as well.
There we go.
So who's hosting this thing, Malcolm or you?
I mean, we're
Do you have a
an
deck or anything?
informal group here, here in Canada.
The deck's
So-
up.
Okay.
Why is there nothing cooperating? My mouse is all over the place. My whole computer doesn't like Teams this whole week. So what truly, Rick, what does hosting this call mean? Let's start there.
You're in charge.
No, there's nobody in charge. We're just here to
Okay.
willy-nilly have fun.
Uh,
The first half hour of this call is always just open forum, guys. So really a chance to dive in. I'll, as the slide deck rotates through, you'll see a question I'd love to hear just as a topic of conversation, since it's usually just awkward silence if nobody introduces a topic. How did you get started in the Dynamics world? Are you one of the old school, like, oh, I know CRM too, or are you relatively new? Don't go all
I
at
think we
once,
had-
though.
I think we had floppy disk when I started this year.
I still remember BPOS. That's when I got started. The BPOS suite was in. Oh, I forgot to update that slide. That's wrong. I'm going to fix that right now. Live, because we just tweak things as we go here.
Yeah.
Oh, someone's raised their hand. Wow, we got polite
Yeah.
people. All right, Amy, Dick.
So I'll go first. I'm from Kingston, Ontario, Canada, and I believe Tara, my colleague, is on the call as well. I'm fairly new, let me guess, 2 years, I guess, into this world, so I like to say. So I'm a business analyst at the company that I work for, and I support D365. I also support an on-prem platform that we're trying to get off of. And Tara's recently joined IT in the last 6 months. So
Hello.
Nice. Welcome. Amy, have you been to one of these, or your colleague? Have you guys been to one of these sessions before?
we have not. So this is
Awesome.
exciting for us.
Welcome.
Yes. Thank you.
Welcome. Well, we as a matter of introduction, I know people are rolling in, so we'll do more formal introductions. I'm not a big fan of those, but the first half hour or so, give or take, is usually pretty open forum. Just as we said, we introduce a discussion topic, or we just let the conversation flow. But the whole premise of user group interaction is about getting to know everybody else and just connecting. So feel free, everybody, use the chat, throw your LinkedIn in there, make some connections. The whole idea here is just to get to know each other. The rotating deck that's up there will just spin through as we chat through, and then we will do more formal introductions to our presenters as we get closer to the bottom of the hour. So anybody else want to share when you got
Liz,
involved?
Liz, are you going to talk about next week DynamicsCon Live and the Microsoft Success Day?
I'm not going to talk about DynamicsCon Live, but I'm going to talk about DynamicsCon Virtual.
Oh, not virtual. Sorry.
Sure.
Maybe that's a good time you jump in on that.
I could, yeah. Do you want me to go through the DUG introduction?
Sure, that'd be great.
All right. Do you mind if I take control of sharing for a minute?
Not
then,
at all.
Malcolm?
You go right ahead.
Beautiful. Yeah, while everybody's joining in, and here I was going to share my story about how I got started on CRM, but
You should lead with that. You should lead
Oh,
with that.
lead with
I don't
that.
want
That's
to
good.
underscore.
You think so?
I don't want to underscore the discussion part of this. Yeah.
Sounds good. Well, welcome everybody to the monthly Canadian user group meeting. My name is Liz Hallen. I am the VP at Dynamics User Group, the host of the DUG Meetups. So before I talk a little bit about DUG, Dynamics User Group, who we are and what we do, I thought I would share my story of how I got started on CRM. So I have been in the Microsoft Dynamics community space since 2000, so just about 23 years. I started out at Microsoft, was there for a little while, and then I went to the other community organization called Dynamic Communities. They're the host of the summit event. I was at Dynamic Communities, or DCI, like I like to say for short, for 11 years. I was hired on there. I was let go from Microsoft, and the owner of DCI at the time brought me on board, and he was hiring me for marketing. I was like, perfect. I would be happy to do marketing for DCI. And so I started, and probably within the first 2 weeks, I was told, hey, so we have this really archaic like contact management system, and we think, we're a Microsoft supported organization. We probably should be using the CRM system that Microsoft provides. So how about you implement that for us? I'd never used a CRM system before. I'd never done an implementation before, but I figured it out, and that was I kind of learned by fire. And honestly, I used a lot of the user group and community to do that. Helped to learn along the way and avoid some of those pitfalls. But yeah, it was an interesting project for sure. I don't even remember what version it was. We had a partner. I think we were, it was hosted on-prem or something.
Yeah, I think it was 3.0 you guys started with.
Is that what it was?
When I
That sounds
worked-
about right. Yeah, because it
When I
would have
worked on
been
it, it was
about
maybe
version
4.
it would have been about 2009, 2010, I think,
Yeah.
is when we did that migration. So
Hey,
crazy
Liz, was
story.
that Nick Hayduk here? Do you remember me?
I do. Yes, Nick was on our project team. Hey, Nick.
That was when I worked at ADX Studio, and
Mhm.
Dynamics communities, that was my life.
Yep. ADX Studio was our partner. So yeah.
What version
guys-
was it, Nick?
It was version 4, then kind of going over to 2011. Yeah.
That's hilarious. Such a small world. Such a fun story. Anyway, so yes, did want to welcome everybody today. Thank you for being here. Especially, I love these new faces. This is awesome. For those that don't know who and what DUG is, we are your community for Dynamics, anything Dynamics or Power Platform related. We do offer free membership, and we are open for anybody, whether you're a user, admin, developer, partner, whatever it is. We are here to help you get educated through either learning through things like Meetup or some of our other programs. We have been around for a long time, but we've really kind of come to the limelight, I would say, in the last 3 years when we've had some full-time staff dedicated to the community. Before that, we were really run by an MVP and volunteer leaders. But since then, we have grown to 39,000 community members. And again, our membership is free, and it is based upon you as an individual, because we really believe truly in offering that free education and content to help you grow in your career and as you elevate through your career path. So the meeting you are joining right now is one of our DUG Meetups. We've got about 32 across the globe, 8 countries actually. And but DUG Meetups is only one of our programs. We do also offer conferences, which I think is probably what we're more well known for. We have the DynamicsCon virtual event, which you can see in my team's background, and we've got DynamicsCon Live. Those are 2 of our conferences. We still have that online discussion forum that was started back in '95, so you can continue to ask and answer questions. Our YouTube channel is full of excellent content and education resources. We have recorded all of our education sessions from our DynamicsCon virtual event, and we post all of them on that YouTube channel. So some really great resources. We also record our DUG Meetups here, just like we are doing today, and these events and meetings are also posted on that YouTube channel. So if you miss one, or if you have to drop early, feel free to check that out later. And we do have a Team Up Partner Membership program too. This is an annual membership for some of our partners and ISVs. As an end user, this is a great way for you to learn about some of the services and solutions from other partners in our community. So Rick was talking about DynamicsCon Virtual. It's hard for me to believe, but this is happening next week, March 15th and 16th. Day 1 content will be on the 15th. This content was submitted by and voted on by the community. So all of the top voted sessions are the ones that you'll see on our final agenda. This is a free event to attend. It's virtual. I just pulled latest registration numbers this morning, and we are almost at 4,800 people. Our goal is 7,000. I feel pretty good we're going to reach that, because if history prevails, we have the majority of our folks signing up in the last 48 hours before the event. First time of, yes, very awesome stuff. And Rick is doing a couple of roundtables on that day too. So if you are wanting to see educational session or have some great conversations like this through roundtables, we have those going on day 1 as well. Day 2 is very special for us this year. We are partnering with Microsoft to offer the first ever Microsoft Customer Success Day. This is going to be held on the 16th. Again, all virtual, all free, through the same platform that day 1 will be offered through. All of the sessions and content were procured and are going to be spoken through by some of the Microsoft executive team. So really excited about that, and have 4 different tracks of content around user adoption, optimization and expansion, migration, and I'm forgetting the 4th one, Rick. Adoption, optimization, expansion, migration. There's a 4th one though.
Optimization.
Okay. DynamicsCon.com is where you learn about that. And if in-person events are more up your alley, we would love to have all of you join us in Scottsdale, Arizona for our 3rd in-person event, DynamicsCon Live. And I do have a coupon code here for everybody to get $50 off of their registration. Would love to see you all in May. And I think that's all that I have. If anyone has any questions, I am here. I'll put my contact info in the chat. But yeah, I will turn it back over to apparently Malcolm, who gets to be hosting today.
Apparently, yeah.
And if I could just add something about next week, Charles Lamont is doing the keynote on day 2, and Toby Bowers is doing the keynote on day 1. If you go look at the agenda for day 2, it's a lot of the top Dynamics Microsoft people. I'm on there too, but I'm down farther near the end. But there's a lot of really quality speakers on both days. So, and it's free. So that's excellent. And just on the DynamicsCon Live, which is the live event, if you haven't been to a live user group meeting before, they're fantastic, right? I was in, where were we last year? San Antonio. So we were in San Antonio last year. A great turnout, lots of fun. And, I think we'll be you and 1,000 of your best friends there by the time you leave. So hopefully we'll see some people there. You can just want to talk a little, talk about a little bit on LinkedIn. If you reach out, I'm Rick McCutcheon. We got Malcolm McCauley and we got Diane Taylor. Diane, we kind of organized the meetings and we've kind of revived this again. We've been going for about 10 years. But COVID kind of, knocked us back a little bit. So we're really starting to get some momentum again. And I noticed that Richard Dennis, who's on the call there, is talking about, maybe we'll start meeting at downtown Toronto at the Microsoft head office. So before COVID, we were a hybrid meeting. So we had meetings going on in Vancouver, Calgary, Regina, Toronto, Montreal, and Ottawa at the same time, so people could meet there and sit together. And then, we had the online sessions going across the country. So we do it all at the same time. And hopefully, we'll get back there probably in 2024. So.
Well, we have some polls. Actually, you're jumping ahead a little bit. So a good segue though. Diane, do you have polls? Oh, well, there you go. So polls that are going to fire up. So we're just trying to gauge some interest in whether people actually want to get together. So we've been hearing mixed things. To Rick's point, Richard Dennis put a couple calls out the last couple of meetings. Not for everybody. I think it's a smaller group on LinkedIn. I don't know where else he's posting it, but and if you're here, Richard, feel free to chime in. But there's been limited uptake on that, and so we want to know if we were to plan something a little more formal, not a formal event, but just hey, we're going to do like what Rick just said. Pick a day, everyone across Canada get together in your local centers. We'll have a virtual session, but then allow for some in-person interaction. You should be seeing a poll on screen now that collects your vote, and it's either, so the question is, should we resume in-person get-togethers? The answers are heck yes or no, I'm happy with virtual only. If you're not seeing that poll for whatever reason, feel free to drop a line in the chat if you're in one way or the other, if you don't mind, just because we're trying to gauge interest. It's a fair amount of coordination to pull something like that together. And so we don't want to go down that path if we're going to have 3 people show up. No offense to those who would show up. But it's a big endeavor to do and a bit of travel in for folks. Happy to do so, but we want to make sure it's actually of value. So second question is, I assume we got some good responses to the first one. The second one you're seeing now is what kind of frequency should we be thinking about for that? Is it just an annually get together? Or we want to do semi-annually, maybe quarterly?
I'm not seeing any questions, Malcolm.
Anybody else seeing polls? I see it popping up in front of me.
It's
here,
working.
So.
Yeah.
I've seen it. Okay.
Yes, I can.
So so annually, semi-annually, quarterly, or never. Let's just stick to virtual. So any of those options. And if you have other suggestions, again, throw them in the chat. We'd be happy to hear your input. Another poll here right now. So again, these are anonymous. So rank the months that would be ideal. So you're going to move these up and down on the page here that you're seeing, the little widget. And so what we're just asking is, when's the best time to get together? Historically, I probably would have said not January, February, but based on this year, I'm going to say no to March as well, because I don't want to drive in this crap. But, everybody's different. Depends on where you are. If you're if you're in a better climate somewhere out west, perhaps maybe it's not a big deal. But let us know what your sort of preference is in terms of months that you'd like to get together. And then there's one more question after this one once Diane sees responses, I think. Or is that it, Diane? Oh, yeah. And where are you joining from? So enter your
That's
response.
the last
So-
one we have.
And please don't say home, because that doesn't help us.
I'll be honest, the previous question where you've got to drag things up and down was a little bit challenging. So
Good to know.
you may have got inaccurate responses there.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Good tidbit. Good feedback. And if you want to drop items in the chat, feel free. Either your preferred months or your hard, like, no, I absolutely cannot or would not get together in July, August, January, February, March.
So historically, I think we took July and August off, and we did quarterly meetings. We did quarterly live events. We're on a monthly cadence now. So we weren't meeting monthly at the different centers. And then going forward, I'm local to Toronto along with Richard Dennis. So going downtown to the Toronto office, right at the GO station, Union Station, new Microsoft office is fairly easy. But hey, if you're from Kingston or Nick's from Regina or some people here from Calgary, by all means, let us know and we'll figure out how to organize a get together in your city. There's lots of partners with facilities, ISVs with facilities that'll let us in. So
Rick's house.
my house, you want to come to Whitby?
This is a cool little feature. I like the word cloud function. Cool to see where folks are coming in from. North America, Canada, Ontario, Rick's house. You guys are all clever. All right, so that probably is good for that. That gives us lots of insight about where folks are, and so we'll take all the feedback in stride and sort of try and coordinate something. Our original plan was to look at spring of 2023, so May-ish. We've had some back and forth around the best place, and again, limited uptake on some of the offers to get together even just for one of these. So we wanted to introduce this just to get a better feel for where people are at. And it is 100% okay if people prefer virtual. I know there's lots of events out there. One of the things that I know we used to do, Rick used to coordinate, so I don't want to steal your thunder, Rick, but at Summit, Rick used to do hey, let's have a space set aside for Canada, and we'll do, hey, everybody, 7:00 p.m., come down to this location in the center and get together for half hour and have a drink together just to interact, even though we're, some other city. Anybody who's from Canada and part of the user group, come on in and just introduce yourself. So we'd love to do something like that again. We understand not everybody's at Summit or some of these events, but that may be worthwhile too, because it's just good to it's the whole point of all of this, right? Is just to get to interact. And that's how I know Rick and Diane and so many others in the community are from events like this. So the more
we
you
drank
engage
together at conferences. That's how we know each other.
Yeah, lots of stories that shall remain untold.
We met at conferences.
Awesome. Well, Rick, I paused this slide on screen here on purpose. I know you were going to do some introduction, I believe, or if not, I'm putting you on the spot, so you're welcome. But I'll hand it over to you to introduce our speakers, and then we'll dive in.
All right, so we're having Digital Adoption Day here, user adoption. So we've got two excellent speakers. I've worked with both of them in the past. Christine Eltz from ClickLearn and Asif from VisualSP are going to give us some information on how to get our users up and running and working a little better. So I see Christine's at the top of the 12 o'clock on my screen, so we'll start with her. And hello, Christine, and over to you, and you can show us the magic of ClickLearn.
Wow. Thank you so much, Rick. It's good to see you. It's good to see you all again. Hey, Diane. to you as well. I'm Christine Eltz. I'm the Customer Success Manager for ClickLearn here in the US. I'm the one that's got St. Petersburg, Florida. So don't hate. But we're going to take a little bit of time. I want to show you all about ClickLearn. So it's been a minute. Some of you may have seen what we call our ClickLearn Classic version, but what we're looking at from here going forward is our ClickLearn Attain solution. Before we get started with the actual application, I do want to take a minute because user adoption is it's big on many people's minds, right? You want to be able to have your end users really adopt, start using, start touching the application itself that you've spent a lot of money or your organization has spent time and effort to put a nice CRM system together, Business Central. So with ClickLearn, we do have a suite of the Dynamics, and I'm going to show you from our ClickLearn Attain sandbox for our customer engagement, how you can get the materials very close to your end user's fingertips. And then we're going to turn around and become an author, and I'm going to show you how quickly you'll be able to build that work through the magic of ClickLearn. So without any further ado, I'm just going to turn my camera off so that I can let ClickLearn be the star of this show. So from here, inside your Dynamics application, you're able to take and place the material. And if you are motioning in this very top right-hand corner, and we have this little help icon for ClickLearn. When you open this up, you'll be able to also open up your main learning portal. And this is where all of the material that you as an author or your team as authors will be able to create. Here's the home page. So every one of these icons represents a folder that would contain work instructions. This particular example also combines with the Microsoft Inside Help. So if you have any questions about any forms and entities for your particular application, you can use a keyword search. So if I want to look for anything about accounts, I can go ahead and I'll get returned everything that's been created, whether it's from the folder level, from the title of the account, all the way down through the actual text in each one of the work instructions. That might look a little overwhelming. Somebody's going to say, that's a lot of information. All I really wanted to do was look for a specific file. So when you come down here to the very bottom to the content, now we also allow to break it down. So you're able to see, oh, over here in marketing, create marketing lists. Here's create a lead, create an account. Oh, here's what I want is to add a contact to an account. Notice the little Mickey Mouse finger that I could click on this and very quickly go to that work instruction. Now my end user is able to review any introductory material for that particular step. And then ClickLearn has all of this templating that it provides. So I don't have to worry about entering or building the text for how to create the item. That templating is done for me. I don't have to worry about doing screenshots and sizing all of this up because these nice little screen captures are also done with the templating. So my end user from a web page view can review, scroll down through these steps, and then there's different eye-catching things such as if you're going to be entering text and it's also going to allow for you to see, and every one of these work instructions can be popped out. So you'll be able to zoom right out and see what those particular areas are if you need to have a little bit of clarity. Every one of these steps at the bottom, at the end of every one of your web pages, you're going to have an optional feedback panel. So KPIs, ROIs, are my end users adopting? Are they touching my material? If you can provide this as part of your end user training, encourage them to tap one of the sentiment faces, type some comments, and I'm going to show you when we become authors how you'll be able to capture all of that and put it into some real-time analytics, Excel spreadsheets. We'll talk Power BI. You also have the same material that's also been created, and it's all created at the same time. So the show me video, the try me video, and the test me video, these now become full screen so that when your end user does start it up, and I have intentionally turned the volume off, I'm not sharing the volume, but it now adds audio. So you're visually able to follow along with the work instructions. You can read all of the material that's been placed on here. You also have some editing capability if you don't want this to be viewed on your videos, but you want it to be on your written material. We do also provide where you can jump through, go quickly down through the navigation steps. Maybe you just need to get down into what the work instructions are. And so this guides you step by step, so you can show, you'll be able to look, you'll be able to see what those steps are. And at the end of this Show Me video, it's going to also provide that optional feedback panel. This is available for every one of the employees that would touch the application. So you don't have to worry about bandwidth, because everyone, if they want to touch the same one at the same time, they can do that. It's all built into this HTML link. So now when the end user is done, they've viewed this a couple of times, maybe they've got a comfort level. If they don't want to sit back and sip coffee, if they want to get right to it, the Try Me video is hands-on. This is now going to be for your tactile, those that like to really bang on the keyboard. So you're going to have all of the intro information again, and I'm just going to jump down real quick here to the navigation as well. All of the steps that you have clicked on to create your work processes now is going to become available, that your end user is going to be able to see, and they'll be able to touch, and they'll be able to manipulate and go through the process. They're going to be visually shown, auditorially, they'll hear. And so now I'm going to click and I'm going to become familiar with what the process is. And I can take this numerous times until I am finally comfortable enough to be testing out. So now I can, you can see the screens are going to move along, and I'm moving the mouse, and it's not going to go anywhere until I interact, until I actually become comfortable with what this process is all about. And then once I'm completed and I'm comfortable with this activity, then I'll be able to go to the Test Me video. And the Test Me video is going to follow that same process. So instead of having the neatly cropped screenshots, it's still going to give me the entire screen. And then once I'm done with that, I will get a detailed evaluation letting me know whether I've passed or failed. And I'll be able to then continue on through any of the other materials. From here, what are some of the other materials? We additionally provide downloadable handheld documents, because you know you're going to have the personnel that's going to want to see it in a Word document format or a PDF or even a PowerPoint. So when I select the PDF, notice that it actually creates a table of contents up here, just like it had for that chapter section in the videos. So if I wanted to get right down to the steps, here with the PDF, I can click down. So it's got some of that functionality from the different applications. So now I can follow along, I can go through the steps, I'll be able to see, and I can work at my own speed. So if I just want to be able to complete the process, I'll print this out or I'll save this off so that I can refer to when I'm ready to create that or add a contact to an account. The Word is stylized like the PDF, and similar to the web page, you're going to have the neatly cropped screenshots, and then the PowerPoint is going to be similar to the videos. So if you have, and this has been very interesting, there's multiple ways that you can use the PDF. The most obvious is going to be when you have your end user training, that your trainers are going to be able to use this material. We're also going to be able to use it if you have a conference that you've been invited to, a business stakeholders, and they're going to want to see what the material is. Can you give us an example of what it's going to look like? You could take this in, put it up on a whiteboard, and have your stakeholders look at it and say, wow, that's great. I really want more of this. Go to it. Another one, no less important, is here in the US, we do have Americans with Disabilities Act. And my experience has been when they go to look at the Show Me video, when they pause it, if they want to look at a screen, the pause with the hash marks is right in the middle of the screen. This allows them to manipulate it at their speed. They're able to open it up, look at it in the full screen. They're still going to get the guided step for the hotspot. They're still going to visually be able to read the text. So it was brilliant. I was like, that is such a great point, that there are so many flexible ways for being able to visually use that PowerPoint. So we have our table of contents here as well. So if I want to be jumping through, all of this, again, is right at the fingertips because the end users are right here inside the application. If I want to come down to another spot, let's say I'm looking at marketing. I was like, okay, what can I do here down at the marketing area? Over here again with the help, we now have context sensitive assistance. So if I want to be able to see how to be able to create a marketing list, I can select that, and I do have live guided assistance. So all of this that you're looking at is customizable. So anything that you see with the ClickLearn branding material, of course, that's just placeholders because we want you to be able to dress it up. The live assistant, we have male and female, and we also have an opportunity for if you have a mascot that you would like to see a honeybee. We have a honeybee. I think we also have a builder. So you can become as creative as you want with all of the publishing templates to really make it your own. So here's the initial work instructions. And now I'm being told where to go. I'm going to be given that live guided assistance. And the neat thing about this is it's an overlay. So there's no integration in every page. This is an overlay and it's firing off looking at that HTML link. Anything you see in the red bolded text, again, this is the live assistant. So now it's going to stop and it's going to wait while I go ahead and enter any of that mandatory information. So this is available. This is also created at the same time all of your other materials are. If you're done with the work instructions, you're going to get the list of where else do you want to go? What else do you want to do? I'm just going to tell my live assistant, I'm just going to want you to sit right up there on my screen for a little while. And when I need you, I can call from my live assistant or from that icon anywhere on any of the modules or functional areas. So with all of that said, this is what your end user experience is going to be. How do we get there? So we have ClickLearn technology up here on our extensions bar. This is what ClickLearn uses to actually look into whatever your application is. We're talking about it in the Microsoft Dynamics world, but we have a variety of connectors that you can use for other applications, web-based applications, Windows-based applications. We're going to stick here inside ClickLearn, and I'm going to show you how to be able to quickly create a recording for a customer account work instruction. So I have my application open and ready. I have my ClickLearn open and ready. I'm going to come here, simply create a new recording. Notice that I made sure that I was going to have my Canadian English for my Canadian user group friends. So anyway, we're going to verify some account fields. And it's going to present it right back here on this recordings tab when we're done. ClickLearn presents with a recording sidebar here. And in just a moment, we're going to tell ClickLearn that we have multiple steps. We know we have 2 or more steps that we want to create. And then here's where we're going to start recording the steps. So now in just a moment, we're going to see a bright green flash. And if you notice my favorites bar, and if you look down below all of my task menu items, ClickLearn is telling me that it knows that my mouse is somewhere inside this screen. And as I move it over, anywhere that has a link, whatever the process is, I'm going to be able to click through the steps, and ClickLearn is going to capture all of these work instructions, these steps in the process. Further in the top right-hand corner, it's identifying the Dynamics logo. So it says, hey, Christine, I see you're inside Dynamics. Here's the connector you need to use. I can also go cross-platform. I can go outside the application. So if I select anything from my browser window, notice I now have the Windows logo for any custom or web-based applications. I could also fire up something from down here on my Start menu or from down here from the Start pop-up menu. We're just going to stay inside right now. I'm going to select the accounts, come find me. And this screen will refresh for just a moment, but you can go from nav menu into any particular work item. Let's just go ahead and say, we're going to click on the link to get right down into this application. And if I want to be able to highlight what are the steps that may need to be updated. So I'm just going to select an account name. If there's a phone number that needs to have an update, I can type in any of these fields as well. Here's a website page. If I have a ticker symbol that I want to add, If I want to go to another tab, I can do that as well. So you as the author have the ability to create your content. You're going to be thinking about how you want to chunk the material. What do you want to have, big material, small material? Are you looking to create a user manual or just a quick little guide? So for our purposes here in our example, I'm just showing you that's the technology to capture, to be the author. And then I use the control keys on my keyboard to simply end the recording. And ClickLearn is showing me, hey, this is what we've done so far. Does all of that look good to you? Looks good to me. Stop my recording. And when I stop my recording and ClickLearn is saying, yep, I've got my numbers, recorded steps, I'm going to take and place this on the recording list because I want you to see this little icon in the lower left-hand corner. ClickLearn has just created all of those 7 different learning formats. It just did it. Here's my recording. Now I'm going to double click and open it up. We're going to take a look at what we've just done. Here's my steps. We have a variety of editors that you can now use, no less than 5 different editors. And I'm going to come to the far right, scroll up just a little bit. This should look a little familiar, like what we were looking at that the end users are touching. Here's my 3 videos. Here's my Word, my PDF, my PowerPoint. Here's my live assistant. Here's my neatly cropped screenshots for my web page that I just come down here very quickly, and I've got my little feedback panel on the bottom. So the templating is already kicking in, already taking place. I usually like to come over here to the PDF and open it just enough to see in the different format, just make sure that everything is formatted correctly. It sure is. The bolded text is actually looking at what the name of that default element is. That's the partnership that we have with Microsoft, is that we know from the developers what they've identified as that element or the title of that drop-down menu, that field, whatever it is that we're selecting. So I'm happy with that. So now what I want to do is I want to kind of punch this up a little bit. So I want to share with you a few of the editing capability. One of the things, if you notice here at the very top, we have our title, but we don't really know what this recording is going to tell my end user to do. So you're going to want to give them an introductory paragraph or a few lines just to tell them how to use this guide. With this very first step highlighted, here's where we're going to add a new text block. I'm going to simply select the text block, and now I'm going to tell my end users how to use this guide. I can be as wordy as I want. If there's any mandatory fields, like such as creating an account, I can tell my end users what they're going to need to collect before they get started into creating an account. I could tell them to go look at an electronic inbox so that they can see if there's been any updates that's been received that they need to make those changes to these certain areas. So for here, I'm just simply telling my end users. And so now it kind of flips really quickly, but here I now have an introductory paragraph to be able to tell my end users how to use this guide. I'm going to come down a little bit. Once we're down here inside the fields, or yeah, I'm sorry, inside the account, the summary tab, I've selected no less than 4 different places that are all in the same area. This can become a very lengthy and boring web page. And also it could be quite an expense if somebody's going to be printing out in a PDF all of this information. Another one of the features that ClickLearn can very quickly take care of for you is I'm going to hold the control key down and I'm going to grab all of these items and I'm going to group them together. And when I group them together, I'm just going to say, I have a numbered list, I have a bulleted list, I've got it if I just want the text only. I'm going to leave it at the numbered list, and now I'm going to show you how you can edit the image. And when I edit the image, I have a 4-headed arrow and I've got a 2-headed arrow that I can go ahead and make some changes. Come on. Go ahead, and there we go. So it's going to be a little bit more informative for my end users to be able to see the level. Here we go. And now I'm going to save that. I do want all of the other material saving these changes. Now ClickLearn has gone ahead and it's taken all of it's found the data object, it's changed the color of the numbering, it's numbered it all for me here in the text as well. So as I'm looking and I'm going through and editing, I'm realizing that there's probably another field, or maybe somebody says, hey, we still have some old accounts that are using a facsimile machine. Would you please go ahead and update this? And you're thinking, oh my God, I'm going to roll. You're rolling your eyes and you're thinking, just to restart the numbering or changing something. ClickLearn can take care of that very quickly for you too. So even if this is something that was created months ago, a year ago, you take your ClickLearn, you open up your application, and this fax field is the one, and it's right after that phone field. So now when I come here, I'm going to highlight the phone field. I'm going to right click on the field. I'm going to say insert, just record one new step. That's the only one I want to capture. So I'm going to simply leave it for one single step, highlight the recording, bring my mouse here, capture the step, and now watch the numbering. This is a little bit of the magic of ClickLearn. Boom. All done for me. It's renumbered it for me. It's appropriately put the display object, golden. If this is not mandatory, if you're after looking at it, you're like, well, they don't really have to go lockstep through every one of these. Whatever information they've got as available, as I've mentioned. Now I'm simply going to come up here to the title and double click to open, and I'm going to change it to a bulleted list. Nice clean list. Set. I'm going to save everything that we've done here at the written editor. And when I save this information here, it pushes the updates out to all of those 7 different learning formats as well. So I don't have to worry about opening up the PowerPoint and the PDF and the Word document, getting a video editor going. I don't have to make any of those changes. It's done for me. With the video editor, there's a couple of things that I'd like to share with you too real quick. So with the video editor, let's say that I know that I'm going to have this introductory text on my web page that the end user is going to be able to read if they print out any of the other downloadable documents, but I really don't want this on my videos. I would like my end users to just get right to the meat of watching the steps, taking the test. So with this very top step highlighted, I'm going to choose to exclude it from the video material. So ClickLearn has now gone ahead and dropped down, and it's going to go right to the videos. It's not going to accept the grouped. It's still going to go step by step through your videos, and that's pretty much the way it should be, because you want your end users to learn the natural progression, particularly if you're going to have them with the Try Me video to get comfortable with clicking through each one of the steps. So now that I've made that change, we're just going to save that real quick as well. So we're great. So far, so good. We've created our recording. We've made some nice edits to the recording. We like the way that this looks. How do I get this to the end user? I take this recording and I build a structure. In this particular structure, we have these basic components that you drag and drop into this canvas, and I'm just going to show from a preview real quick. You can see this looks similar to what we had seen when we opened up the help menu from within our customer engagement. This one actually has an example where it's got a Google Maps. So you can also add, if you have any other web-based applications that your organization uses in conjunction with ClickLearn, and you want to have that again as close to the fingertips, because there are some people that they probably have a desktop shortcut icon from several years ago. Maybe they've got it on their favorites bar, but you could actually build a little bank of hyperlinks here, and it will be embedded inside your application that they can touch. Here's the recording that we just finished. We made our updates to, and the way that I get this out for my end users, I'm just going to bring it out. I'm going to hover over this folder that I've already created, and I have my verify account details right here. So now I also visually can see, hey, this lets me know that it's out here. It's now ready to be published. I'm going to save this work. And then very quickly, we're just going to go ahead here to the publishing. I'm going to go through these steps. Let's see, what do I have? We're not going to do our Canadian French. We will stay with our Canadian English. We're going to track this content. And now we're going to have ClickLearn build us the web page. So it's not even low code, it's no coding. ClickLearn, this is another one of the templates that ClickLearn will do for you. So you're noticing there's a little blue line that's just starting here. This should go fairly quickly because we just have a few work instructions and we've put some dividers in the folders out there. So this is also another one of those behind the scenes magical things, is that you're like, wow. For me anyway, when I saw that, I didn't have to, and I am comfortable. Like back in the day, I think Liz had said from about 2000 that she's been involved. I mean, I've taught front page classes from 2000. So for me, when I saw this, I was like, that's great. I can have somebody else, I can have another application put that web page together for me. And here is where the magic truly happens now. In just this short amount of time, here's my link. I'm going to copy the link. And just to be able to show you what we've done in just this short amount of time, I'm going to paste it here into a worldwide web page. Here's my accounts. Here's my verify accounts. Everything is popping. It's working. Here's my Word document. Let's just open it up in a Word format. Oh, on my other screen, of course. Hang on. That's me. Here we are. So yes, and all of the formatting in the header and the footer, again, that's all your customizations. Our particular example is showing who the author is of the document. We've got time date stamps on everywhere. You can have the paginator. Here's the title of your document. This is the company name that you would see up here. Here's my intro guide. If I had added any sections or subsections, I would also have that table of content. Here's my neatly cropped screenshots. So by grouping all of these together in one, I've just saved myself probably 2 pages, because you could see I've got 3 items just on one page. So I would have had a whole nother page, 2 or 3 pages. So the grouping is really another really neat function that ClickLearn can very quickly take care of for you. So now all of my material is together. This is when you'll then have the opportunity to work with your Dynamics and my Google map. Yay, here we are. Yes, beautiful day in the neighborhood. So everything is now functioning as expected. And if I did want to leave any kind of, let me see if I can't get this to say this was. Yay, very quick, very easy to follow. And again, that's on the bottom, that'll be on the bottom of every page in the Show Me and the Try Me. So now when I come back here into my project and my, as an author, administrator, we have this neat little dashboard. So we are not in LMS, maybe an LMS Lite, but I have all of these different dashboard tiles that I could pull the information out. So when the business stakeholder comes to you and says, hey, Christine, how is everybody doing? You know, how's the go live? You can refresh the data in a variety of time spans. You actually can do it daily. So if you do have your go live and you want to check the data on a daily basis, here this consumption trend is showing me today was the day that somebody touched the material. And don't be confused, my company is based in Copenhagen, Denmark. So this is just European time. But here is also my content rating. So this is all of the sentiment faces. Each one of them will have a bar, and then you'll select that bar. Because I did put it out into a global web page, if you embed this link into your application, ClickLearn's going to pick up with the Active Directory, and because they'll already be signed into your application, you will be able to see their name, their email address, what the content was that they were touching, what their comments were that they left, and the date and time stamp. This would be very helpful, particularly if somebody leaves you some kind of comment that says, I don't understand step 2. If you've ever had that listed on a paper comment that's been dropped off at the desk at the end of an in-classroom training, you're like, what step on which process? You just got done spending 8 hours showing people the application. So this kind of helps to filter out any of those, oh, the air conditioner was closed or was turned off, or my laptop broke down, or the computer wasn't working right. You're going to get the exact kind of comments, good or bad, because then you'll be able to use your post-go live deployment specialists or your customer success managers to help you reach back out to this person and say, hey, you know, James, I saw that you were having a problem. You said you didn't understand step 2. So all of this is put together, and every one of them comes out in an Excel format. If you have a learning management system, part of the templating is that you can create SCORM packages so the Test Me video can be added into your LMS. You can also add the link inside your LMS for people to access it there. If you have a SharePoint site and you've got a learning channel built, you can take and put this link on a SharePoint channel, and we're going to help you be able to do that. If you don't have an LMS, but you still want to get some more in-depth detail other than what you're seeing here on these tiles, which again, all of them come out in an Excel format, up here at the very top, we have an OData link. And you can take this OData link, copy it, as you said, click on it, copy it, put it into a Power BI desktop, paste it in there, and then once the query builds, you can pull whatever fields out of the query to get onto the field and create the visualization that you want for the data as well. So we have a variety of different ways for you to be able to comfortably present your metrics so that when the time comes that people are asking, hey, what about all of that training material that was created? Are the end users touching it? Are they learning how to use my system that we built for them? All of this ammunition is going to be right at your fingertips to be able to show them how the material was created and built and put at the fingertips of your end users. So that's the magical pieces of ClickLearn. Diane, Rick, Malcolm, who do I hand the ball off to? Open the fields for any questions. What would you like to hear?
Okay, Christine, I think we'll ask the crowd if there's any questions. Thank you for the presentation.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, raise your hands, please, or drop them in the question box. We also have Gail Bullen on the call here today. She is one of our Toronto members who's also with ClickLearn. So if you need anything, just reach out to Gail.
Absolutely.
Okay. No questions?
I don't see any in the chat, a couple comments, but other than that, I saw some thumbs up and claps throughout the presentation. So very, very cool stuff for sure.
Okay.
Well,
great.
thank you.
Okay, well, I think we're going to thank you, Christine, and we're going to have you exit the stage. And Asif, I think you're next. You're still here? Okay, great.
I am still here. I'm still here. Can you hear me and see me?
Yes.
You're a little low, but not bad.
Oh, really? I can put on a headset also if you want.
I think that's okay now.
It's better?
Yeah, you sound good.
All right. Set stuff up over here. First of all, thanks so much, Rick, Malcolm, Diane, for having me. Appreciate it. And it is not easy running a group, by the way. I've done it in the past also, all the time that you guys are giving. Appreciate that for the community. All right, and Christine, good presentation. Enjoyed it. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here, and you guys let me know once you can see it, please. Full screen, stop, share, and that should do it. Let me know. Can you see the presentation?
Looks good.
Yeah? All right. So once again, thanks for having me here. I have a few slides. I want to set up the stage before showing you the actual product. My name is Asif Rehmani. Once again, good to be here in the Canadian user group. I'm from Chicago, by the way. I noticed in the word cloud, I'm the only one from Chicago over here. But anyway, the name of the game over here, just like Christina was talking about with ClickLearn, it's user adoption. We build so much time, so much stuff for our users, using so much time, but who's actually using it? That's always a question. And most of us are, of course, really want to spend the time building amazing solutions, but if they don't get really used, then there's no point to any of that. Please keep that in mind, because I know most of you out there thinking about the same exact thing. I don't want to get the same exact questions again and again from my users. I just want things to work, and I want people to have the answers they need at their moment of need. Having said that, VisualSP is a contextual micro-learning platform. That's what this is, okay? And the whole concept here being that we bring learning to the learner instead of having the learner go to the learning. In fact, I've written white papers and done presentations on this particular topic at conferences, and it resonates really well with people. Nobody has the time these days to go somewhere to get all the information they need. It's more, how do you bring it to me at my fingertips when I need it? I won't bore you too much with my whole background. I've been around also for quite a long time in this space, been a MVP with Microsoft for 16 years now, have spoken at many, many different conferences, including I'll be there at the DynamicsCon Live that's happening in Arizona. So if you guys are coming, would love to see you there. Back in the day, written a few books as well, back in 2007, 2010, 2013. And then I kind of stopped with the books, not as much used anymore, but I think in the future we'll be writing a book on learning solutions and contextual microlearning, etc. And here's my LinkedIn profile, email address, website if you would like to contact. Yeah. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to tell you a story. And this is a true customer success story. Okay. The customer I cannot name specifically, but this customer we'll call Globex. Came to us a couple of years ago, and I'm going to talk about exactly what happened and what results they achieved using VisualSP. So we'll go from there. Now, Globex as a company, headquartered in the United States, about 700 employees for this company. They were migrating from Google platform, HubSpot CRM, to Microsoft 365 and Dynamics 365 CE. Okay, so they were rolling out specifically sales and customer service modules with customizations. Having said all that, the challenges that they were experiencing were the following. That's what they told us over here, that our sales and customer service folks are not using Dynamics as much as we want them to. They're still going back to spreadsheets or not doing anything and saying, hey, we don't need the system like that. Of course, the problem is if they're not putting the information in, we don't have the information for all of our other sales and customer service folks, right? And these guys have provided a lot of training, support, documentation, videos. So we looked at their whole profile, what they put together in SharePoint sites, and it was good information. So it was not because of the lack of documentation of what they were doing, but people were not going there, okay? Keep this in mind because that's the whole concept of contextual microlearning and bringing information to the user. What we have found in research with Forrester, Gartner, others as well, is that visual adoption platforms and contextual microlearning platforms where information comes to the user is the way to go in the future. Third main, very important thing also is the important communication these guys were trying to push out through email was just not getting read. There's just not enough people actually reading their communication. So these were the main challenges that they had, all right? Low usage, low adoption, high support costs, unfortunately. And this is a kind of what their site looked like. I actually have a running site that I got this screenshot from. Obviously, this is just a demo site. This is not the actual one, but it was hosted on SharePoint. They had a bunch of information there, learning documentations. And what we took them from there was the goal of how do we get information to the users within 2 clicks and 10 seconds. Okay, this is a proven formula out there actually that I've written about quite a bit as well. How do you go from having to go places to bringing the information to them within 2 clicks and 10 seconds? What really happens when you do that is there's a hit to the amygdala right in your brain saying, oh, you know what, this was not that difficult. And when it's not that difficult, then you want to do it again. The self-learning and self-receiving information, just being much more motivated to do that. So having said all that, you've seen enough slides here. I'm going to show you a couple of different environments. All right. I'm going to have my notes here as well. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm also going to take my camera, actually turn it off, make sure the bandwidth is enough so you guys can see everything. And actually, I'll put this down as well. Okay. So here's what happened. First thing, when we rolled out the solution for Globex, the environment looked very much like what you're looking at right now. And what happened day one is we took their brand, their logo, we put it right on the top right there. See that small icon? So that's what we do for all of our customers. Their particular icon, their logo goes on top. Now what happens day one is if someone were to click on it, they see the information overlaid directly on top. And the content that you're looking at over here is all supplied by us. We don't deploy an empty system. So it is a system which already has some content, and the content is very fundamental things like it shows over here: sorting, filtering views, creating activities, getting around dynamics. And then of course they take and then modify this as well. So having said that, I'm going to click on one thing over here, creating activities, for example. It's a video. Okay. You can watch, you can pop it out as a user, and while you're watching it, you can go ahead and do the work as well while you're watching the video. Now, this is all context sensitive, so I'm looking at this thing and it's talking about creating activities because I'm in activities table. If I were to go to accounts table and then do the exact same thing as I was showing over here, click on my own company icon, which I recognize, obviously, it shows my company name and everything. Now I have information about accounts, so manage accounts and so forth. Yeah, that's the experience they got right off the bat from us. We deployed it within a couple of weeks, and it was right there. What they did after that was they went much further. And what I want to show you is some examples of exactly what they did. Okay. Of course, I won't be able to show you their data, but what I'm going to be showing you is going to be very similar to the experiences they built out. So first thing they said was, when people go to activities and they're seeing my activities here, well, they don't know exactly what to do and how to start with. And they saw the video that we had given them, the create activities one that I just clicked on over here before. And they said, the question being, how can we make this appear right there? So when I'm looking at my activities and I'm confused over here, how do I get the help that I need at my moment of need watching this video? So I'm going to show you exactly what they did over here. I'll go into edit mode. Actually, I'm already in edit mode right now as an admin, which is like that. And I'm going to click on this edit for create activities. This in the back end is our editor, keeping in mind that everything about VisualSP happens directly on the Dynamics interface. There is no separate place to go to. Everything is right there. You never lose context. Okay, so I'm in here, and here's the information that's showing me the create activities, the actual video, and so forth. I'm going to go down here and say, let's enable inline help. Okay? Enable inline help, select an element, and I'm going to go ahead and say, you know what, I want it to be right there. So hopefully you can see the small icon that appeared and it's pulsating right there. All right, I'm going to click on use it. Just that, nothing else. If I click on preview at this point right now, the icon is there. It will appear just like that for the user. When they click on it, they'll see the video right there. Now you can't hear the video, but I can hear it. The actual video that I was showing you before, it appears directly in line. So now it's discoverable. Now it's right there in my flow of work at my moment of need and within the context of my environment. Yeah, hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to go ahead and not save this one over here. I have another environment that have all these things built out. So I'll show you a few things and then I'll show you, a built out environment and walk through that. Second thing, so they go to accounts. Actually, I'm going to go to leads and show you something over here. So one of the requirements they had was, people are going to leads over here. Everybody does, our sales folks and others, and they're like, how do I export this thing? How do I export my leads? I mean, something simple that should be easy. Now, hopefully most of you already know that you click on this ellipsis right here, and that's where it is. And depending on my resolution, sometimes this appears there, or sometimes it's not there. Well, so what they decided at this point is we're going to make a walkthrough, an interactive walkthrough using VisualSP, which will point to this these three dots right there. So once again, back in the system, add a help item. So I'm starting from scratch at this point. A bunch of different templates for me to start from. I'm going to go ahead and choose this one. That's a walkthrough template. All right. Currently, it just says show and tell. I can just go ahead and say export to Excel. And then in the walkthrough builder, I can go ahead over here, say export your leads to Excel. Now it already has some templated content, which I can change the image. I can do all that stuff here. In fact, here's how simple it is to do that. Let me delete this. I have the Globex logo right here. I'm just going to copy this. We'll go back in here, do a Control V, and boom, just like that, it's there. All right, and here's all the content here. If I do a preview at this point, here's my first step. Okay, now this step is right in the middle. It's saying, welcome, let me show you how to export your leads. Now I'm going to go ahead and point to that other place, the 3 dots. So I'll go into add step right at the bottom here. In this case, I'll say select element. Let's select this element right there. And I want to be a little bit more fancy over here to say, first, I'm going to say, okay, click the 3 dots. Now I could call it ellipses or 3 dots. 3 dots would be easier for people to know exactly what you're talking about. I'll say my walkthrough step is going to appear on the left. And in some advanced properties, I'm going to say, let's advance when the target is clicked. Let's put a highlight on there as well. And the highlight color could be whatever. I'll just leave it to yellow for right now. So here's what I've done already. Yeah, preview, first step. This can come up automatically. And I'll show you later also how you can set things up automatically. Welcome, here's how you export your leads. Next, and boom, now it's pointing to say, click the 3 dots. And because I have this already set up right now, where if I click, it's going to continue. Here's the step already continued. And I can make more steps over here, as many as I want. Move them around as needed. Very fluid environment to make it all this happen. So now I don't want to build out every single thing in front of you because that might take a couple hours over here. I want to show you another environment that has all these things built out. All right. Keep all these things in mind: the inline help, the walkthrough, and then there's more what we call contextual experiences. I'm going to put that down here as well so everybody knows. That's what I'm making right now. Contextual experiences on the screen. So it's available to me directly within my environment. Notice I've not gone anywhere else. Everything is happening within Dynamics. All right. So here's the other environment. Here are the things to note here. As I mentioned before, hope you remember that GlobeX is coming from HubSpot to CRM. In this case, it's coming to Dynamics CE CRM, right? Now in HubSpot, there's only the concept of contacts. There is no leads versus contacts. So people were getting confused. Okay, well, do I make a lead? Do I make a contact? What do I do, right? So they put these inline help icons right there. When I hover over this as a user, just like that, using VisualSP, it's showing me a contact as an individual associated to an account, blah, blah, blah. Great. Same thing here. Leads, I hover over this, it shows me a lead is not the same as contact. It's an individual who has an opportunity attached to it, et cetera, et cetera. You all know that, obviously. They went a step further, and they also put a link to a video, which we had given them, so it was already there. They made some of their own videos too, by the way, but this was already there. You click on this, and then you can see leads versus contacts. All right, so a bunch of these videos, what we do is we create them, we maintain them, so you don't have to create all that stuff from scratch. We have fundamental content for Dynamics. In fact, we even have fundamental content for Microsoft 365, so Teams, SharePoint, and everything else. Lots and lots of content that we provide right out of the box, so you don't have to create everything from scratch. And then you go create from there. And then, as I was showing you before, here's the activities icon here. You see how it's customized a little bit? I'm going to actually refresh the screen here and say if they're coming here for the first time. Here's what's happening. It's pulsating, drawing my attention, saying, okay, there's something new here. I click on this, same experience as you saw before. The create activities video shows up right there. So they wanted this onboarding experience for using inline help in specific places, not to clutter the environment, but in specific places which would be helpful. Now it's also done where it shows up only the first time. So after the first time it's clicked, boom, it goes away automatically. All these things are features built into VisualSP. Here's the second thing they wanted. Whenever a new member joins a team, they wanted to walk them through a very specific onboarding scenario. Okay? So they already had, here we go. They already had videos hosted in a learning management system. They had other content, and they wanted to bring it all together using VisualSP to welcome the person. So in this case, automatically a walkthrough like this comes up, embedded into it as a video, and this video specifically was hosted in the LMS. So it comes up, the video starts up automatically, welcoming the person. This is the CEO talking. Now, when the person is done, they click on next. And I hope you saw that I did not click on the plus sign. This clicked automatically. So we have RPA built in as well, where we can click on different things within the environment to navigate people, to have different things simulated. And then in this case, so the plus got clicked automatically, and now it's got a border around it, just showing, hey, this is how you can create records from here. Next, now showing me the navigation, the sitemap. Wonderful. Next. So now, see, automatically it's taking me to my leads. It took me to my leads as a salesperson in this case, and it's showing me, okay, this is how you go forward from here. This is how you make new leads. And this is all happening in production environment. So it's not a video, it's not a dev environment. This is all happening right on top of the production environment without really being inside the environment. So it's all an overlay helping me, right, as a user. And from here, I can contact support if I need further help. I can learn how to convert a lead, or if I'm done, I click on done, and that's it. So it was a simple version of a walkthrough that they had created, Globex had created. All right. Another scenario. Now, this one was in regards to communication. I can tell many of you out there, I'm sure you're upset when people are telling you, your users are telling you afterwards, hey, I never saw that email before, so that's why I didn't come to the meeting, or that's why I didn't know about that event. And that just upsets people, people that I talk to at least. So in addition to email, what you can do is you can use VisualSP to put up an announcement banner. And that's exactly what Globex did. So in this case, let's say if I land somewhere, and I just went to a different screen over here, leads, an announcement banner like this comes up. And this announcement banner is telling me there's a leads expiration policy, guys. Your leads are older than 120 days. It's going to be automatically disqualified. And then additional information about leads as well. Okay. I won't click this right now, but this could take you an additional information about exactly what that means, take you somewhere else, or just give you more information directly on the site here. So a banner like this comes up. Now, of course, you're wondering, how are some of these things configured? So I'm going to take you into the banner configuration and show you exactly how that's configured, how it could be automatically scheduled for specific users. Back in the same system right here, Globex, I'm an admin, and here's the banner, lead expiration notice. See that? Okay. So how do we make it so it automatically appears? Something like this. How do we brand it? How do we put the information in there? And so forth. From the editing screen, first of all, it's been identified as a banner, and you can have a bunch of different things that you can do. Now, also many different languages supported, by the way. Forgot to mention that earlier. Now, making the banner super, super simple. I can go ahead and just type out exactly what I want. Rich HTML here. I can paste in the logo if I wanted to, or some other icon. Very easy. I can take this button and link it up to whatever I want. I can link it up to some specific thing, or I can link it up to a different help item that I already have. Okay, so very easy to just automate all these things, brand it. So as you can see, hopefully that I can just take the banner and, oh, this is pretty bright pink over here, but you get the idea. And I'm going to position this banner right now to bottom. Let's do that. And the most important thing, as you might imagine, is how does it get pushed automatically? So in here, it's showing the first 3 times a user goes to a particular page or a site or so forth. In this case, it's going to push it up to that user in between a certain date. So start date, end date, you configure that, and then it works automatically. In fact, you can even segment it out to specific scopes within Dynamics, specific roles as well. So you can say, you know what, I don't want it to appear everywhere. I want it to appear in specific applications, maybe in customer service, sales, or I have an application that I have a specific, custom name or whatever. Of course, I don't have any custom name over here, but if I did, I could just put that in there. And once I do, I can go ahead and choose the entity or the table. And then if I add the dynamic scope, only at that scope is where it's going to push that information, in this case, the banner. One other thing to note over here for everybody is that the system I'm showing so far, the VisualSP, it doesn't just work for Dynamics. We have customers using it on Dynamics, Microsoft 365, ServiceNow, Salesforce, Workday, and all the other web applications. Just no connectors. It just, once you have VisualSP on the system, you can just start building out these walkthroughs, inline help, and all that stuff everywhere. Simple as that. I can also go ahead and do roles. So I can say, you know what, only show this information to salespeople or sales managers. So I could do all that good stuff as well. URL filters. Okay, so I'm scoping it out. So this banner in this case, and the same exact thing works, by the way, for walkthroughs, for other things. So only the people who should be seeing it would see it and nobody else. And that's how simple it is to configure banners. I'll go ahead and preview here just so you can see. I just made a change. So now it's a bright hot pink over here with a blue button, but simple to make all that stuff happen. So that's another thing that Globex did to enhance their communication. And that resulted in 80% more people showing up at their events, the meetings and stuff that they were having, just because they knew more. It was a ridiculous amount of increase that they got. All right, moving forward, because there's definitely more over here. I also want to reduce or remove frustration altogether for my users, right? And all of you want to do that, and that's what Globex wanted to do. So here's one thing that was happening a lot. When people were in an account, they wanted to change this annual revenue number, and they're like, how do I do that? Like, they're just clicking over here, like, I can't do this, and they're looking over here like, oh, there's no annual revenue. It was just frustrating. Now, obviously, you know exactly how to do it, but what they did was, instead of just telling people one by one or fielding the phone calls and stuff like that, they made it super simple by telling people, hey, just click on our logo, do a search for, in this case, revenue, right? Very quick search. And I want to adjust annual revenue. Sure. So you click it, and guess what? Now it's telling me exactly what to do as a user. It's saying, click on this down arrow. Sure. And annual revenue. Okay, change revenue here. So I go in here as a user. Ooh, yes, my revenue has increased over here, estimated revenue. So pretty simple. Another example of what they did, because they knew the frustration of their users really well. So that's why they did all these things here. All right, continuing on forward. Here's another scenario that Globex felt. The users were coming to opportunities, and they would see all opportunities, and they would say, oh, you know what, I want to see my open opportunities. So let me go to my open opportunities, and they would see this, and that's great. And then they would go away, and they would come back, and you're like, I have to do this again? Oh, come on. And that was annoying. And they didn't know exactly how to make this the default view, right? So guess what? You see over here, it says the default view. That is VisualSP. Okay, this is just like the icons that I've been showing over here. You can have links like this, you can have buttons, you can put whatever you want without cluttering the environment, because it looks very much like it's part of the whole experience. Now, if I click on this thing as a user, or maybe it's even pulsating and inviting me to click on it. Now, look what it's doing. It's saying, all right, click on my open opportunities and set as default view. That's it. I click on this and this will be set as default view. So very simple to provide these kind of experiences to my users. Make it super, super easy and simple. Reduce the frustration. Yeah, bringing learning, bringing information, bringing processes, bringing communication to my users at their moment of need. All right, I got a few more things over here. I hope you can hang in there, and then I would love to take some questions as well. If I were to ask you on this screen, what is VisualSP and what is regular Dynamics, I can bet that some of you would have a hard time, because stuff is just baked in over here in a way where it doesn't feel cluttered, but my help is there. And that's what Globex did. They did it very artistically in this case, if I were to use that word. So for example, of course, you got the Globex icon, right? So their own logo. In this case, we have customers, Deloitte, NHS, John Deere, many of these customers that we have. So their own logo is the one that appears directly on top when it's in their environment. Second thing, you already know about these, obviously. So you got the informational icons, great. But in addition to these things, there's additional stuff here as well. You see this that says medic sales process? This is the sales process that Globex was using, and they didn't want people to go to SharePoint to get that, which, I didn't show you the actual SharePoint site that I have set up over here. I forgot about that. But anyway, they didn't want people to go to SharePoint to get this. They wanted the information to be right there. Okay, great. And then also CRM support. It looks like it's part of the Dynamics environment, but this is all driven by VisualSP. Okay, in fact, there's even an invisible item on top of timeline, which you can't even see, but if I hover over it, it would show me information about timeline. So let me do some of these things, or click on some of these things over here. First, the medic sales process, a pretty popular sales process I learned after we worked with Globex. You click on it. In this case, the actual process, this image was coming from their LMS. Of course, this one is just pasted in over here, but they had a course at times up here, depending on where the user was, embedded directly in this screen, or the image for the sales process, just right there. And then would learn more, and this would go to their LMS, which in this case, I just demoed it. So it's going to an actual blog entry, but similar to what they did over there, right? I already went over the inline icon, so I won't do that again. But timeline, people were confused in the beginning as to how do I add activities? What is this for? What are the different components? So when you hover over it, all I did right now, hopefully you notice, all I did was hovered over it, and it shows the company logo. It shows information as to exactly what the timeline is all about. And all that stuff is hooked up in the environment, okay? And then also CRM support. So in this case, people were at points, people said, okay, well, how do I make a support ticket, or how do I get in contact with a human, especially if I'm working from home? As you all know, we've worked from home for many years, and we want to be able to support it if really needed. If what I have here is not enough, I need something else. I need a human to talk to, or some additional information. So they hooked this up, CRM support. Now it shows in here, all right, for how to answers for about CRM, you can click on the check it out. This I'll show you in a second. You can go to the answer community, or you can make a ServiceNow ticket. And this would help them create the ServiceNow ticket from right here. It would not take them to ServiceNow. The ServiceNow would come to them over here. Okay, once again, without leaving the environment. The check it out over here was more of a kind of onboarding people to understanding how you can use the logo, and also there's a help tab, which is at the bottom. So if they clicked on check it out, it's automatically going to progress. And hopefully you can see over here saying, hey, there's a help tab right there. This is also part of our VisualSP. So you can have a help tab, you can have a logo, or you can have both over here. Okay? And it's showing them additional information. So it's moving automatically. The walkthrough in this case is moving automatically. That's also part of the system over here to show them the different features of the VisualSP help system for themselves. All right, I'll go ahead and stop that over here. Now, hopefully all this stuff makes a lot of sense, but at the end of the day, how much you pay for a system like this and what the ROI you get, I think is super, super important. It cannot just be a good look and feel and all that stuff. So I'm going to show you the analytics that they got, something that's very, very similar to what actually they got. So within the same system, if I go as an admin to view analytics, here's what they saw right up top. How many help items were actually viewed within a certain date frame, how many person hours saved based on that, and how much savings and productivity based on this over here. And we have all these calculations and formulas hooked up over here, even for several different countries as well, not just United States. But it's taking the information from the labor department, understanding exactly how much the pay is for a support person and how much would you pay if all this was done manually. Okay, so it has all this information. You go down and then it starts going in more detail. If VisualSP is put in all different systems here, Power BI, OneNote, Power Automate, Dynamics obviously, but also Salesforce, right? All these other places, it will show a complete bird's eye view of your dashboard of all the different clicks that are happening and traction that you're getting. Not just that, but you can also see people what they're searching for. So if someone's searching for the word Citrix or book a meeting room, you can click on that, and depending on how you have things set up, it will show a GUID like this, just a global identifier, or it would show the email address, which so it would show just like this over here, which is my email address, in case you don't have it already. Many of our customers in the United States choose to leave the email. many customers in Canada, UK, Switzerland, other places, they choose to make a GUID like this one. So it's a unique identifier, but it's not identifying the actual person. But still, I can see that at least one person, while they were on SharePoint in this case, they did search for book a meeting room. They last searched at this time or this date, and then 4 times they searched. So they're pretty frustrated over here. So I better provide some more information about how to book a meeting room when they're in SharePoint next time, or when they're searching for a lead in Dynamics, right? All that good data is right there at your fingertips. In fact, now this of course makes a lot more sense when it's actual user email address. Which user is clicking on what? It would give me all the information about that. Okay, clicks by help item, and so forth. So a lot of data in my analytics over here showing me exactly what I need to understand so I can continue to enhance and expand the system incrementally. As I mentioned before, Globex started out with just basic stuff that we had given them, and then they started making things one by one. A few months later, they got all this data, and then they kept on going, making additional changes, and this is the kind of metrics they received in a couple of years, okay? I'm actually going to go back here and show you, just to wrap up over here, a couple of things that the actual cost for VisualSP for Globex, we make everything very transparent. Everything is on the website. Their cost was $14,950 for the year, and it covered up to 1,000 users for them. It was VisualSP application, not just for Dynamics, but for Dynamics and Microsoft 365 with complete pre-built content they received and the ability to customize and create their own content. And then, of course, we show the result. So the resultant was something like this that you saw before, similar numbers with 50% fewer tickets and 3 times faster end user onboarding and better communication, which is not even listed over here. But this is what the dashboard kind of looked like. So there's additional metrics that showed up over here as a percent of ROI, how many apps that they were supporting, how many active users within a certain amount of time getting the help, and all this information so far. So this is an actual dashboard. Of course, I cannot name the actual customer, but it's Globex of what they did. And that's the kind of results they were able to achieve. Not stopping at Dynamics, though. Once again, Dynamics, Microsoft 365, Salesforce, Workday, ServiceNow, your custom applications like payroll, HR applications, in-house, SAP SuccessFactors, all of the web applications are supported with the system. If you would like to learn more, let us know. This is my email address. That's our website, www.visualsp.com. We do have a 14-day free trial as well that you can try out if you like. And then if any of you out there are partners of Microsoft, your SIs, solution integrators, there's also a master subscription as well that we offer, where you can get a master subscription and then you can make child subscriptions underneath that master subscription for all of your users. So let us know. I'd be happy to talk more about that. And that's about it. So I hope you got something out of this session, if something. Keep in mind, please, let me just turn my camera on as well. At the end of the day, the name of the game is reducing support tickets, increasing user adoption, increasing usage, because without that, I've been a builder for a long time. I've written books on SharePoint design, InfoPath, done a lot of Power App stuff. All that stuff is useless. You want to make sure that in your Dynamics and Microsoft 365 and other environment, things get actually used. So that's my wish for you. Whatever you decide to use in terms of applications, make sure you focus on your users. Thanks again for having me. It's a pleasure.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Thanks,
Asif, I'm curious. I asked Christine the same question. What's the standard setup in terms of time investment? So if a company is like, okay, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
How long does it take them from the time that they've kind of got the access to it to publishing their first, piece of content and starting to embed some of that contextual components?
Our fastest setup to date is a company which came to us on a Monday, kind of, let me actually stop sharing over here. They were really frazzled because they were going to go in production on a Friday. And from the Monday when they came to us, before that we did not know them, to the Friday, we had them deployed. That was the fastest.
Wow.
The slowest, 2.5 months. That's only because if you want to go through all the different data and nitpick and all that stuff, but no more than that.
I guess it depends too if they have content that they have to create, videos they have to record, all that kind of stuff.
And for that, some of the biggest customers that we have, which have 70,000, 100,000 users, they actually have a huge amount of library of content, right? So we provide a PowerShell script where they take all this content, or actually we take it for them and ingest everything within an hour all into our system. And then we just push to different places contextually.
Right. Cool. Awesome. Thanks. I don't see any questions, but unless I'm missing any, but I did see a couple of thumbs up, cheers, reactions throughout. So
Wonderful.
good stuff. Any questions, anybody, for either presentation?
Christine, do you want to come back on screen?
Here I am.
There you are.
I'm gonna throw unrelated. So if you do have questions, feel free to chime in or throw something in the chat.
Yeah.
Or
Before
if
you
anybody
leave,
else wants to bring up something they did for user adoption,
Yeah,
that may be a little
agreed.
different.
Yep, good call.
Hi, this is Maurice.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, hi. I'm new to this group. I don't. Both were great presentations. I have questions regarding this group. If I have to in future need to connect to Dynamics user group, whom should I or where should I? How should I connect to? And what is your meeting frequency?
So I'll do the meeting frequency first because that's the easy one to answer. Right now we're doing monthly at the virtual. Based on the responses from the polls that Diane kicked off earlier, we may or may not get to do some in-person ones, but primarily we've been working on a monthly cadence. Now, as we get into nicer weather and we all decide that we'd much rather be outside versus inside, we may dial that back a little bit, especially over July and August when nobody's actually around. But we do intend to keep things, they may not always be 2 hours, right? Sometimes we might just do 45-minute session or an hour session. But we are for now, it looks like we've got content for the next couple of months lined up. Your other question is a great one, and I don't have an answer. I don't know if anybody does. Where does community live today? We've got multiple homes. Where's the best place to engage with each other?
I think on the
Discuss.
DUGs, in our meetup on DUG, I suppose, and we sort of communicate with each other on LinkedIn, it seems. So I think it's a combination of several things.
The DUG forums, right? There's the DUG forums as well. Admittedly, I'm not very good at getting in there on those, but I know that they exist. I know there's other forums out there as well. I see a lot of stuff posted on LinkedIn in our formal group, but also just as people's posts. So, hey, I'm struggling with this. What do I do? Reaching out. I don't know many people in the community that would not respond to you if you reached out and said, hey, I saw you on a user group call. Can we get together and just chat? I've got some items, maybe do you use this tool? And if so, can we talk? I would say 99 times out of 100, the person's going to respond and say, absolutely, let's connect, because everybody would like to get to know other people.
Now I would suggest also, if you go to meetup.com and do a search, you can find all the groups there too. A bunch of them. Our Chicago group is there as well, that we hold meetings, and physically here.
Thank you.
Liz just posted links in the chat as well for the Dynamics user group, the DUG forum, which is a great spot. Side note, I'm going to throw a link in the chat. If you have ideas for future content, things that you're looking for, I mean, we kind of do our best to brainstorm topics and think up things, but we absolutely are influenced by what you guys want to see. So if you have topics you'd like to see or present, you are welcome to present. I actually sent a note as we kicked off today to Rick and Diane and to start to focus. We want to try and get some user content in here as well. So if you're a user organization and you've got tips, tricks, thoughts, things you'd like to present, you don't have to have a fancy PowerPoint deck or anything like that. Even if you just want to do a roundtable discussion, I'm confident that people would love to participate. So send your thoughts along. I'll drop that in the chat. It's just a brief survey on Microsoft Forms. Fill it in, and then we'll take that into consideration And again, if you're interested in speaking, even if you've never spoken before, put your hand up because we can pair you with somebody. One of us can join you and do a co-presentation. We're happy to do so. Any other thoughts, questions, comments?
One question, Malcolm. Is this recorded by? Well, I do see it's recorded, but it's going to be available for everybody.
Yeah, we put this up on the DUG YouTube channel. I'm sure Liz is frantically pulling that up right now, so she can put the link in the chat. If she's not, I probably just forced her to do so. So sorry, Liz. Yeah, there is a DUG YouTube channel. Liz talked about it off the top of the call.
Awesome.
Chock full of great content. So we'll get the link posted in here, and this gets uploaded within a few days by the time we get it pulled down and moved over.
And I am
Imagine.
grabbing the link, but if you don't have the full YouTube link for Dynamics user group, we do post a link to this event in the Meetup platform as well as on the discussions in the Meetup group. But here is a link to the YouTube channel that has where this recording will be posted, as well as all of the prior, not all of the prior, but the last several Canadian National Meetups.
Thank you, Liz.
You bet.
Awesome. Well, tentatively right now we have presentations queued up for next month, and if I'm speaking out of turn, Diane, slap me, on customer service and kind of an overview of some of the features and functions. It's grown. It has gone from infant to adolescence to probably even young adult in the last 3 years. It's gone at a tremendous pace. So we're going to try and pull in a presenter to give you an overview of some of the great features and functions that it's got on tap today. And again, if anybody is interested in joining as a presenter, please put your hand up in here, or just fill in the survey, or reach out to any one of the three of us via LinkedIn or direct email or carrier pigeon, smoke signal, whatever you got to do to get our attention. We'll watch for it.
You can send Malcolm a fax. Malcolm, what's your fax?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, everybody,
Awesome.
we'll give you some time back, and thanks for joining us. And we'll see you, I think we're on the 13th of April. We'll be posting that in the, if it's not already posted, Diane, in the DUG community and on communities.dynamics.com, which is the Microsoft site. And I will do a link on events on LinkedIn, and I'll spread that out. So if you're not connected with me on LinkedIn, reach out to me so you make sure you get on that list of people who see the meeting.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
Bye
everyone.
for now.
Bye.